All right, it is just about the noon hour here on the last day of summer in Happy Valley. I hear the chimes on Old Main ringing. It must be time for the virtual speaker series. We have a great program lined up for you today. We are going to be talking with our friends from Special Collections and the Eberly Family Special Collections here at Penn State Libraries. As always, we want to know who you are and where you're zooming in from. Go ahead and drop that information in the chat, or if you are watching us on Facebook Live, go ahead and put that information in the comments. We'd love to welcome you in to a return of the virtual speaker series. We have been off since May. We took the summer off, but here on the last day of summer, we are back and better than ever with a great presentation lined up for you today about the Eberly Family Special Collections Library, which connects students and lifelong learners with rare and unique materials that document the diverse history of Penn State, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the world. We will be getting started in just a minute or two. Thanks for joining us on the virtual speaker series. Again, if you're just joining us, let us know who you are and where you're zooming in from today. We'd love to welcome you into the virtual speaker session. We will be getting started in just in a minute or two. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like more information about upcoming Alumni Association activities, you can find that on our website at alumni.psu.edu. Barbara McCarthy is joining us from Oxford, New Oxford, down in Adams County, Pennsylvania. Barbara, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support of the libraries. I see Marilyn Farley from Savannah, Georgia, joining us. Wonderful to have you both here today. See Betsy Kyle Reese from Falmouth, Massachusetts. Welcome, Betsy. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association, and I'd like to welcome everybody to today's virtual speaker session, which is being recorded. Live closed captions are available for this event. You can access them by clicking the closed caption button at the bottom of the Zoom video window and then clicking Show Subtitle. You may also customize your caption view by clicking the stream text link posted in the chat. We are live streaming today's presentation, and the live stream has been made possible through the gracious support of a donor and the Fund for Access, Ideas, and Audacious Goals. Today's presentation will be archived and available on our website after the event. This afternoon, we welcome 3 colleagues and leaders from Penn State University Libraries: Jennifer Meehan, Julie Porterfield, and Clara Drummond. Jennifer is the head of the Eberly Family Special Collections. Julie is the instruction and outreach archivist for the collection, and Clara serves as the curator and exhibitions coordinator for the library. The Eberly Family Special Collections Library connects students and lifelong learners with rare and unique materials that document the diverse history of Penn State, the Commonwealth, and the world. This presentation will showcase highlights of the diverse stories found within special collections, as well as the opportunities offered for students of all ages to discover, create, and tell their own stories in special collections. Now I'd like to introduce today's guests. Coordinating the library's special collections and archives across the Commonwealth campuses, Jennifer Meehan arrived at Penn State in January 2019. Before Penn State, she served as the Associate Director of Emory University's Stuart A. Rose Manuscript Archives and Rare Books Library in Atlanta. She earned an undergraduate degree in English and Film Studies at the University of California, Berkeley, and an MS in archival studies at the University of British Columbia. Julie Porterfield serves the Penn State University Libraries as both the instructor and outreach archivist for the Eberly Family Special Collections Library and the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies Librarian for Circulation Collections. She graduated with an MA in Global Women's History from Seton Hall University in 2011 and an MLIS from the University of Pittsburgh in 2013. Her work focuses on women and feminism in archives, archival outreach to campus and community groups, and teaching archival and primary source literacies with critical pedagogical techniques. Clara Drummond serves as a curator and exhibitions coordinator in the Eberly Family Special Collections Library. Clara has been creating exhibitions for more than a decade, first as an assistant curator of literary and historical manuscripts at the Morgan Library and Museum in New York, and later as an independent curator in Belgium, prior to her arrival at university libraries in 2017. Thank you for joining us, Jennifer, Julie, and Clara. We'll turn the virtual speaker session over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Clara or Julie, can I get a thumbs up? Awesome, great, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I have the pleasure of kicking things off. My name is Jennifer Meehan. I have the pleasure of serving as the head of the Eberly Family Special Collections, and my colleagues and I are delighted to be here with you today. I wanted to start by thanking Paul Clifford for the warm introduction, the Penn State Alumni Association for the opportunity to be here with you today on the virtual program, and of course to all of you for joining us. So Julie, Clara, and I are excited to be here with you and to have the opportunity to share with you about some of the ways that we connect and engage our students and researchers in the Eberly Family Special Collections Library, and in turn to invite you to connect and engage with special collections. So to start things off, I want to welcome you into the Eberly Family Special Collections Library virtually, and hopefully one day soon in person if you haven't visited in person yet. So for those of you who've not had a chance to visit us in person, the Special Collections Library is located in the first floor of the Paterno Library. If you were to enter through the Curtin Road entrance and make an immediate left, you would find us there. We're even easier to find now that we're adjacent to the Starbucks Cafe, which is a hot spot. So you will see our front doors. There's an image here that is actually from one of our last in-person open houses, inviting first-year students into the libraries and into special collections. So entering through those front doors, you would then be welcomed into the exhibit gallery, and you see an image of this below on your right-hand side. So this is a space that's open to the public and features a slate of rotating exhibitions curated by Clara Drummond that showcase diverse stories across all of our different collecting areas. So we are in the process of installing a new exhibit in that space. It's going to be our first in-person exhibition since the pandemic, so we're excited. It is titled Openings, and it's going to feature new highlights from across special collections. So certainly invite you to visit us soon in person. If you were to go through the farther set of doors from the exhibition gallery, you would then enter our reference and reading room space. And you see an image of this in the top right-hand corner. And this is the space where students and researchers come when they want to use our collections to study, to analyze, to read them. And in the course of that, make their own discoveries and tell their own stories. So for today, my colleagues and I will be sharing some of the stories of the ways that we engage our students and our researchers. And to set the stage for those stories, I wanted to share a little bit about the broader mission and vision that's guiding all of our work in special collections. So our mission writ large is to inspire discovery, curiosity and creativity. And we do this by connecting people to the distinctive resources that are held in special collections, our rare and unique materials. We do this, of course, in support of the university's educational mission, as well as its commitment to creating an equitable and just future. At its heart, I think of our mission as connecting people to stories. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. And the vision for how we accomplish our work really focuses on three broad areas of activity: our work of building special collections, our work of stewarding special collections, and importantly, our work of engaging people with special collections. So to say a little bit about our work in these different areas, building special collections, we strive to respectfully build collections as well as documentation in order to ensure a more representative historical record across all of our collecting areas, which range from university and sports history to labor history, as well as Pennsylvania history, to literature, language, the arts, and so on. Our work in this area involves acquiring new materials, and we do that through gift and purchase. It also involves undertaking oral histories and undertaking different documentation efforts like web archiving, for instance, as well as collaborating with students and communities to document their own history. In our work of stewarding collections, we are striving to responsibly steward these distinctive resources to ensure enduring preservation as well as equitable access. So our work in this area includes everything from receiving new materials to organizing and describing those materials, preserving them, housing them, safely storing them, and increasingly digitizing them, all with the aim of ensuring that special collections and the stories within are discoverable and accessible to our students and researchers. And then our work of engaging special collections. We strive to actively engage our students, our communities, to connect with special collections, to promote awareness about these resources, to promote participation in them, and really connect students with resources for their own learning. So our work in this area encompasses all that we do in our reference and research services, providing service to patrons both in person and increasingly remotely. This also involves the teaching and instruction support that we provide, working with faculty who want to bring classes in to do research with special collections. And it also involves all of our work around public events and exhibitions and other programming, all of which aims to connect people to the stories within our collections. So turning to the first of our stories that we want to share with you about engaging students in the classroom, I will hand things over to my colleague, Julie Porterfield. Julie, take it away.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hi, everyone. As was mentioned earlier, I serve as the Instruction and Outreach Archivist here in Special Collections. So one of my primary responsibilities is coordinating our teaching and learning program. And what that basically means is that we offer a variety of services that support instructional needs from teaching faculty that want to bring their students in and utilize primary sources from our collections in the classroom. What this looks like in terms of discipline varies pretty broadly. We're fortunate to have broad collecting areas here in the Special Collections Library. So we get the usual suspects that you would expect, like history, humanities, disciplines like that, but we also work with STEM classes as well. So there's a broad spectrum there. And we also offer a broad spectrum of services from what we would call a one-shot lesson where the class comes in one time and learns a little bit about searching for the collections and utilizing them, to what we would call embedded instruction. And I'm going to talk a little bit about one of those examples today. So just before the pandemic in the fall, I was fortunate to work with an English 15 class that was officially titled in the course catalog, We Were. So the focus of the class was really on university history, and we thought it would be an exciting example to share with a group of alumni today. If you attended Penn State recently, you probably know that English 15 is the general education writing English course that typically first-year students take. And this particular section of the course was being taught by Professor Debbie Hahi, and all of the students in the class were undecided liberal arts students. So in an effort to help them feel a connection to Penn State and really become integrated into the Penn State community, she put together this version of English 15, which focused specifically on analyzing the historic rhetoric of Penn State. The class was great. They met with us 6 times, and the first 2 sessions were guided sessions where they learned a little bit more about searching for the materials and how to analyze them and really break down the historical rhetoric that they were reading in the documents. But then the following 4 sessions were an opportunity for them to work. They were sort of like study halls, and have myself and other members of special collections there to troubleshoot if they hit any snags, that sort of thing. So with that background said, I will go ahead and ask Jennifer to stop her share. Today, I'm going to use a document camera that we purchased during the pandemic to help us with remote instruction to show off some of the materials the students in that class got to see. So I'm going to turn my video off. And share my screen. Can I get a thumbs up? Can you everyone see? Awesome, great. So the students in the class were really focused on rhetoric, primarily in about 5 areas: women's and gender rights, civil rights and racial injustice, environmental justice, anti-war sentiment, and LGBTQIA+ rights. So today I'll just share a few examples. What you're looking at right now is a bound version of the LGBTQIA+ student groups newsletters. And you can see this particular example is from 1980. This is the Thanksgiving edition with all of the turkeys. One thing I did want to show off with our cool new technology here is that for remote classes, one of the great things we can do with this document camera is zoom in and out, and also annotate. Maybe if I'm looking for a particular date like this November 5th, I can circle it for students so they can check it out. So that's just me showing off our new technology a little bit. So this is one item that the students used in class. I may sound a little bit far away. I'm getting up to switch them. Let's see here. So this is another item. And this specifically comes from the student activism collection, which, as you might imagine, the students in this class were particularly interested in, especially how students in the 60s and 70s approached unrest and activism. And this actually, I believe, came from the Collegian, and we just have a copy of it. So this is an example of one of the documents that they analyzed. And you can see the student being hauled off there away from Old Main. So if you were there on that day, maybe you can share more with us about what happened. And then finally, I have a third example. Particularly the female identifying students in class were enthralled with this one. And this is the list of rules for female students in 1883. if you can see that there. And you might be asking yourself when the first female students were admitted to Penn State, and that was 1871. So not too long before that. I'm gonna zoom in right here. If you can see, they even had a curfew. Check out that 10:15. So they got an extra 15 minutes after 10 o'clock. But the female students in particular were particularly interested in this one. So I'll stop my share. And just to wrap up, I'll say that we were fortunate enough to have this professor take part in an interview process where we got some feedback from them. And it was all really positive. And we were happy to hear that at least one student was able to do an oral history project that was inspired by some of the women students material that I just showed off. And we also had one student decide to become a history major. So we will call that one a win. But this is just an example of one way that we engage with students in the classroom. And I'll pass it off to Clara to talk about another one.
Thank you, Julie. It is an excellent transition because, as Julie just spoke to, we sometimes have exceptional students who want to make more of their initial visit to special collections and build something bigger. So this is about engaging students beyond the classroom and engaging alumni this story. And I'm going to speak about the Black Student Alumni Oral History Project. I want to start out by saying that this is actually a story of the lead of the project, Maya Hill. We are very grateful to her for allowing us to share her story and the close relationships and community she built from this project. So we can go to the next slide. So this is a screenshot of the website that we built for this project. We recently released it in the spring. So Maya Hill she graduated in 2020, and she actually first came to special collections and the archives with a class. As Julie spoke, many students first discover us in that way. And it was a history class also on the history of Penn State, but with not first year students, it was with more advanced students. So she was in her last year. And as part of this class, students were asked to think of a research paper that they wanted to write about something on Penn State's history. And she decided that she wanted to look at the Black student experience at Penn State, specifically in the late 60s, early 70s, which is a rich time for social change and social justice movements. So she spent more time with our collections. And while there were some good materials, so, collegian and some photographs and student activism papers, she felt like there wasn't actually much about individual student experience during that time. And she thought, what can I do to sort of fill in this gap, to help fill us in this gap? And that's something generally we at Special Collections think about often. So whose stories get told, and how can we help broaden and be more inclusive in whose stories are told? So Maya, with our former university archivist, came up with an idea of interviewing, so through oral histories, which are extended interviews, Black alumni from that period. And she thought, how am I going to get in touch with alumni from that period? And she was part of a sorority, and she thought that's an excellent, community that I can draw upon. So from one initial contact, it broadened into 13 interviews. You can see, we're going to share the link to this project, so you will on your own time be able to spend more time with it, because each image you see here, you can click on the website to hear each individual and see. So Maya did these, this was done during pandemic time. So she graduated and she stayed with us for another year as an employee to work on this project. So you click on the image and then you can see Maya. It's a video of her doing these interviews, which last approximately an hour. The first image that you see there at the top is actually of the group interview she did, which for me is one of the most moving parts of this project, that she had the idea, hey, we won't just do it one-on-one, we'll invite everybody. And many of these students knew each other from sororities, fraternities, student organizations. It felt like a homecoming. There was a lot of laughing and just general joy at being together, even on the screen, right? How do we create community in these sort of strange times that we're in? So We also added another layer of student engagement. So I will go to the next slide. We invited students from the COM agency, which is the student-run media production agency and the College of Communications, to create a film project. So we love engaging multimedia in our storytelling whenever possible. And we had worked with them before and they were fantastic. So a team of students from the COM agency came and talked to Maya about the project and interviewed her about it, and used clips from the oral histories to first make a trailer. So in a moment, we'll show you the short trailer, but they also made a bit of an extended short film, a 5-minute film, which we linked to as a kind of introduction to the project. So again, that film is available on the website that we will share with you. So I will let Jennifer press play and we can listen to this short. You'll hear Maya and the participants speak.
My name is Maya Hill, and the name of my project is the Black Student Alumni Oral History Project. This project is about preserving the history of a time period at Penn State from 1969 to 1971 of the Black student experience.
The Black students who were there created a sense of community, and that sense of community was important for all of us.
You were surrounded by people that both looked like you, had similar experiences that you had, and that had made a commitment to be like a sister, a family.
The Mozambican folks is luta continua, that the struggle continues. Yeah. And listen, my daughter and grandkids were in demonstrations down in Arlington.
The legacy continues. The legacy doesn't just stop with one generation, but it continues on. Once you do something, you pass the torch to someone else. And it is a valuable piece of history. It should be held at a high esteem, just as the history at Penn State. And I also just want it to be included in Penn State's history because it is Penn State's history.
So again, that was our little trailer to get the word about the project out. So we're happy to share it with all of you. We're very excited about it. And I will, at a last note, say what's really exciting about it is that it spans our build, steward, engage spectrum of all the activities we do. Because one of the participants, Mrs. Carol Merrill Bright, who you saw in the film, from this project decided to donate some of her personal materials to the archives. So we now hold a collection of her papers, which just add, again, another layer to this telling of Black student experience at Penn State. I will now pass it over to Jennifer, who will speak about a worldwide engagement project.
Thanks, Clara. So building on our stories about engaging students in the classroom and beyond the classroom, the last story we have to share for the presentation is about engaging students and alumni around the world. And it showcases one of our most unique and creative events, the Great Rare Books Bake Off. So this event came to life last summer in the midst of the pandemic. It was a collaboration between Penn State University Libraries and Monash University Libraries located in Melbourne, Australia. This was also part of the Sisters Library program that's in conjunction with Penn State's Global Engagement Initiatives. So the idea between the two teams was to come together and create an opportunity for building community virtually during a pandemic. And the particular idea for the event was inspired in big part by Penn State Abington professor Marissa Nicosia's research and focus on cooking in the archives, in which she focuses on early modern recipes. So those are recipes that date from the 1600s to the 1800s, and updating those for the modern kitchen. So another source of inspiration for this particular event was the Great British Bake Off show, which I'm sure is known to many of you, and as you probably know, features a baking battle between amateurs. So with this combination of ideas, this led to the Great Rare Books Bake Off, in which Monash and Penn State engaged each other in a friendly competition that showcases historical manuscript recipes. So combing through the special collections of both Penn State and Monash, the teams unearthed a trove of enticing recipes. On the Penn State side, these included recipes ranging from a lemon tart, you see examples of that on screen here, to chocolate drop cookies, to wet shoe fly pie. And these recipes came from the Eberly Family Special Collections Library, as well as from special collections at our Fayette and Harrisburg libraries. On the Monash side, they unearthed recipes ranging from Anzac biscuits to sponge pudding to a meringue cake known as the Pavlova, which was seemed to be a fan favorite this year. So these historical manuscripts were digitized, made available online. And you see an example of one of those digitized images here again for the lemon tart. More than that, though, transcriptions were made available, which is helpful, again, to those of us who don't read handwriting so easily. And also included, again, modern notes or notes for the modern kitchen. So you see an excerpt of one of those helpful notes here relating to the crust, making the crust for the lemon tart. And it reads in part, "Feel free to substitute a store-bought pie crust here or your favorite pastry recipe." So especially helpful if anyone's like me and not the most skillful of bakers. So the Great Rare Books Bake Off, now an annual event, is again staged as a friendly competition between Monash and Penn State to see which library can engage the most participants in baking historical recipes and sharing them online. So the competition is open to everyone. On the Penn State side, we're especially eager to engage our students, our alumni, and our faculty. And people can participate by selecting one of the featured recipes that are available online to bake in their own kitchens, taking a photo or video of the finished product. And it's important to note that both baking successes and baking fails are welcome. And then sharing via social media and being sure to include a hashtag for your respective institution. So for Penn State, our hashtag is Bake Penn State. So you can see here some images from this year's competition, images that were available via our Instagram feed. And then there's a submission that was shared via Twitter featuring the library's own Dean Chadwell, whose contribution this year was chocolate drop cookies, which looks to be a baking success. So pleased to share that in the first offering of the event, Penn State came out the winner, took home the prize, which is a vintage pie plate, as well as bragging rights. But this most recent bake-off, which just finished earlier this month, the prize went to Monash. So the score is now tied. And we expect that the competition will heat up for next year. So this is a future call to all the bakers and competitors in the audience to consider joining us for the 2022 bake-off. Stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we invite you to test your hand at baking historical recipes by visiting us online, and we'll share a link to the site. So with that, just want to say thank you for your time, your attention. It's been a pleasure to share stories of connecting and engaging with special collections. And at this point, we'll open the floor and invite your questions, your comments, and your stories.
If you have any questions, you can drop them in the Q&A tab here in Zoom or in the comments field on Facebook Live. So my first question, I'm fascinated by the bake-off. It was 2 institutions this year, right? And I'm thinking back now, I'm a college football fan, right? I'm thinking back when it was #1 against #2 would play for the national championship. And then they expanded the field. So now there's 4 teams and they're talking about maybe 12 teams. Are there plans to expand the field so more universities can be in this in the future?
That is a wonderful question. I feel like there has been early conversation around that. Clara, you might have more to say on this point, but we're always looking for friendly competitors. So I think that would be welcome.
There has been talk of extending it to the sister libraries. There's one in Croatia, for example. So yes, it would be really fun in the future to involve more archival and special collections.
I could see this being like a multi-week competition. Maybe there's an international bracket and a North American bracket. And there's a lot of potential here to get people excited about special collections, right? Because it's a different way of introducing people to the archives that we have, these great and wonderful collections that we have on college campuses all around the country, all around the world. Are there any other strategies that you use, like the bake-off, to get people interested in people who might not be, necessarily drawn to special collections, but there might be certain things within the collections that might pique their interest? How do you get kind of the general public excited about what you all have in the collections?
I will start things off, but then I'm going to throw it to my colleagues who will also have great ideas and examples to share. But yes, I think, part of our work around engagement is thinking about ways we can reach new and diverse audiences, and doing this in creative ways. And I think increasingly, in virtual ways as well. So we touched upon exhibitions, and you saw, some of our exhibition space. So I think sort of that in-person exhibition has been a key experience and opportunity that we are eager to make available to those individuals, students, alumni who are able to visit the libraries. But what we are more eager to do, and what we've done in the past 2 years, especially, sort of spurred by the pandemic, is launching into digital exhibits and exhibitions. So bringing that same creativity and energy, but doing it in an online environment. And in that way, hopefully, I think we find connecting with new and different audiences. But yeah, let me hand things over maybe to Clara first, and then Julie to jump in.
That's a great question, because as Julie said, our collections span so many subjects, disciplines, and time periods that it can feel a bit overwhelming. Like how do you get your foot in if you're not sort of a focused researcher who knows what you're coming to see? Which is why, as Jennifer said, I try to, in the exhibitions we do in the physical space, like we have one opening called Openings, I try to touch on as many, again, time periods and formats, so books and archival collections. And we have, we have everything from medieval manuscripts in that exhibition to a recent, nuclear engineer scientist at Penn State who traveled to Chernobyl, for example, and just donated his notebooks. He was really interested in what do we do with the problem of nuclear waste. So, I mean, that's like a huge, I try to put as many varied things as possible when I do sort of the public, you can come into our exhibition space and just get a sense of what we have. And the digital exhibitions, again, the blessings of having a bit of time away from the physical world allowed us to build more online exhibitions. And when you go to our homepage, there's a link for the special collections homepage for digital exhibitions and projects. A recent example is our sports archivist put together a fantastic digital exhibitions of the history of Penn State athletes and coaches and everyone involved with the Olympics at Penn State. So like Penn State athletes who have been in the Olympics, and it spans the entire history of the Olympics. So you might not think right off, be like, that's something you can turn to special collections for, right? These histories. It really has a profile of every Penn State Olympian. So again, just thinking creatively about trying to cover all our bases, that people have very different and varied interests, and we can try to speak to them all as much as possible.
Julie, how about you?
I would say that I think that movement to more digital work has really been the core theme of engaging new audiences over the past year or so because of the pandemic. Clara, I know that you did some work with Zine workshops where you actually mailed the things to the students. we got this document camera so that we could continue to teach in their remote environment. And then we also launched our social media accounts. So I think that really that shift towards making sure that we're engaging with folks in a digital audience has been the major thing recently.
That's great. So, so two of my favorite items in the archives and in special collections. One, I love that there is a copy of every football game that Penn State has ever played on television, that you could watch it, all except for one, which is a special game that I think Penn Staters would watch if it was, but it's the '73 game against NC State when John Cappelletti had 4 touchdowns. That one is missing, and no one has been able to put their finger on that one. But I also put in requests from time to time. Some of the best writers in the history of our institution have been predecessors of mine in this role: Ridge Riley, Ross Lehman, and I from time to time request things that they have written for that, and their papers are in the special collections, especially Ridge Riley, who was an extensive writer during his time as a student, and then on into the various roles that he had here at Penn State. What are some of your favorite pieces in the special collections and in the archives? Julie, I'll start with you.
So I get this question a lot because of the outreach and engagement efforts. And I don't know that I've ever come up with a totally standard answer. I think in part because we all also serve as curators. So we're constantly doing that build part of our work, where we're bringing in new collections. So that's changing pretty frequently. I think a standard favorite of mine is a hand-signed letter from Dorothy Parker that we have, because she's my favorite author. And also recently we have several examples of, they're called friendship journals, but you can think of them like a contemporary bird book from the turn of the century between young girls. And I have a personal interest in girlhood studies. And so I've been pretty focused on those recently as favorites.
Great. Clara, how about you?
It's unfair. It's like picking your favorite child, and you can't choose. But I won't pick a specific item, but I'm really interested in artists and creators who play with the idea of the book. So we have a contemporary artist book collection that we use in teaching. They're great for exhibitions. And again, these are people, it's interesting to think, I love special collections because we're both deeply engaged in the digital world, but we also, have respect and awe for the physical things, right? And what they can tell us, and how that interaction can be especially meaningful for students who are used to, they live in a digital, right? They can do their research, they can live on the screen and they feel comfortable. So there's something interesting about bringing them in and showing them a book. So I just put in the exhibition this huge pop-up book. So again, I'm going to post a video later on our Instagram to show it, but it's made by Colette Fu, who's an artist in Philadelphia, and she traveled to China and photographed ethnic minorities in China. She's really interested, actually, this fits in with the Great Rare Books Bake Off. She's really interested in the idea of cuisines. So when you open this book, again, this gigantic food market that's from the south of China opens up. You have a woman who's selling all these, it's like a mouth-watering, it's like literally eye candy, because you open the book and you're like, looks delicious, I want to eat it all. But for students, it's just extraordinary to think about, like, what does it mean today to collect books, right? Like physical form of books, and how they can be surprising and wonderful and play with our expectations of what books can be.
And Jennifer, how about for you?
It's even more unfair of a question for me to answer, but I'm going to take a broad approach here. So my background being in literature and in literary studies, I think what I always resonate with in the special collections, including the Eberly family special collections, are the writers' papers. So I think those sort of intimate, whether it's drafts or notes around manuscripts that give you sort of a glimpse or a peek into the creative process that really really kind of opens up this, different understanding of what goes into creating a work of art. So I think those I always find fascinating, those materials. The correspondence too that can be found in writers' papers, where you sort of understand or get a sense of this network between whether different writers or different editors. So, I think one example here is a recent acquisition around the writer May Sarton. I think includes some examples of that correspondence and whatnot that speak to, the writers as people, that you don't, necessarily always get a sense of that when you're, kind of in awe of their works, but especially that creative process. And I think, what I've seen is when students are connecting or getting that insight into the creative process, it seems to be in a way really inspiring, and it opens up their understanding of what creativity involves, almost empowering them to think about, what they could do. So I think that's really what excites me. One of the things that excites me.
So we have a couple questions coming in from the audience. People are also fascinated about the bake-off. So there's, how old do the recipe books need to be accepted by special collections?
It's an excellent question. There's no cutoff date. we like when we consider things to bring in to build collections, we like to think of, how rare is the item, if it's available at every if it's widely available, it's probably not the book for us. And also its condition. It can also be interesting when books have interesting provenance, as we call it in the rare books world. So who owned the book? Are there annotations? I think it's really interesting in recipe books, especially, how we all know, like, our moms who kept copied out their favorite recipes and wrote notes like, no, don't do this, add this much baking soda, or they kept sort of those. So I think recipe books that have a personal angle to them are really interesting to us. So, but I welcome, if somebody has a rare recipe book that they would love to run by me, please email me, preferably send pictures, and I'd be happy to take a look.
Yeah, and if you're joining us here on Zoom, there's some great resources being added to the chat. So make sure you check out the links that Jennifer and Julie are dropping in the chat. So Curry First has a question here. In the spring of 1965, Oregon U.S. Senator Wayne Morris, who was the head of the Agriculture Committee in the Senate, was invited to speak on agriculture on campus here at Penn State. He was one of very few in the Senate actively against the Vietnam War, and suddenly shifted his agriculture speech to speaking out against the war. How would one go about finding the Daily Collegian story that was in the paper the next day or the following days about Senator Morris's speech? I'm familiar with Senator Morris. We've moved here from Oregon. There's the Wayne Morris Center for Politics and Law at the University of Oregon. So an iconic figure in both US and in Oregon history. But how could somebody find out about his visit to campus back in 1965?
So in the chat, I just dropped a link to the digitized versions of the Historical Daily Collegian. And if you're specifically interested in its coverage of that event, you can take a look there. And that's a great place to start the research.
Excellent. Another question coming in. I know that you also have an extensive collection on African-American women writers. I mentioned earlier Barbara Ann McCarthy's support of that collection. It's actually the Barbara Ann McCarthy collection of African-American women writers. How would somebody go about finding out about the cataloging of that collection and where it's available now for students and scholars?
So I'll just drop another link in the chat here. I accidentally muted myself. This collection is fully cataloged, and each item is individually cataloged. So if you want to look up a specific title in the catalog, you can. The link that I provided is just one example. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see a notation that it does come from the McCarthy collection.
Excellent. So you mentioned earlier in your presentation that the first physical exhibition since the pandemic at the Special Collections Library is coming up. Can you share what it will be about and the tentative dates? The person missed those dates, and excited to see what that might be coming out of Special Collections. So what is the first physical one that you're planning to roll out?
It is opening this week on Thursday.
Right.
And we'll go until January. I think it's January 14th. And again, it's called Openings, in the spirit of reopenings, but also a play on what we do with our books, boxes, folders, right? We bring them to people and we open them and we discover what's inside. So it's really about discovery, and it's highlights from Special Collections. So it's just 21 items to showcase the breadth and depth of our collections. It's meant to be fun and just an introduction to Special Collections, which felt like the right after, again, this return to the new normal, as people are calling it, felt like a nice way to start, a way to begin again. Like, here we are, we have a lot to see and discover, and we welcome everyone here in our spaces.
Great.
And a press release will come out shortly about the exhibition, so we can share that more widely. It will be in Penn State News, so we'll share with everyone.
Excellent. If alumni want to learn more and access additional resources about the work that you're doing, where can they go to find that?
We have a lot of information available online, as well as all of our contact details. So I think that's certainly something we would look to follow up with this group on and share those so that folks have them. But yes, we do invite queries, questions directly, but we do try to make as much of our resources at least findable, discoverable online. So the website is always a good place to start for some basic information and how to get in touch. Yes, we invite people to reach out with their questions.
And we will share these links in our follow-up email to the folks who have registered for this. And so no need to hurry up and copy and paste all of these. We're going to share all of these links with you in our post-event email. And obviously, I'm sure that if people want to be supportive of this, of your work, there's opportunities where they can give to support Special Collections as well.
Yes, there is. Yes, we rely on the support of our friends, donors, and alumni. So yes, those are certainly conversations that we're actively involved in. So we invite folks reaching out and the opportunity to reach out with you.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us today. Jennifer, Julie, and Clara, fascinating work that you're doing here to bring our history to life through the Special Collections and through the archives, and all of your great work here at Penn State. I can't wait to follow the expanded field in next year's Bake Off and see how that grows over the years. I want to thank everyone else for joining us on the virtual speaker series. Thank you for tuning in. If you're a member of the Penn State Alumni Association, thank you so much for your support. If you're not a member, what are you waiting for? Go to our website at alumni.psu.edu, and you too can become a member of the world's largest alumni association. Thank you for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are
Penn State.